So you made national headlines for passing a law requiring county to cover elective egg freezing for employees in DC area. First in DC area. Some people would say this is just a niche issue that is not really that serious. What do you have to say to that?
I say, well, one, if you're not a woman, I don't think I need your opinion. But two, I would say that, I can only come to the space for my experience. And as a young lawyer, well, I was a young lawyer. I'm not young anymore, but
you still are.
yeah. But as a woman that again, my family pushed education, which was amazing. But I think for women in particular, there are always choices to be made. And one of the choices that I didn't fully realize as a young person was, the more I pursued my career, I went to law school. I, worked in New York City. Then I worked here. Then I became a prosecutor. Then I got elected. I didn't realize that was impacting my childbearing years in the unique way it really was. And I think women who didn't have a voice, we have it was about 2,600 women that work for Prince George's County government who are under 40. So that means a lot of them, they might not get the glamour or the media attention that I do, but they're giving their youth to serve our county, to serve our residents, to serve our seniors, to serve our children, to serve the dispossessed. And so they still deserve the chance to be mothers if that's what they choose to do. And I would say, if you're educated on insurance, every month that I pay insurance, and as a young person, I have to say I'm very blessed, and I do try to eat well, even though I'm a curvy young person. I do try to eat well and I do work out. Yeah. I don't have chronic or any health issues. So I'm actually one of the cheapest people paying into insurance because I don't withdraw for anything really. Maybe one inhaler. That's it. And so I'm paying for everyone else's hip replacement. I'm paying for everyone else's diabetes care. I'm paying for everyone else's dialysis. I'm paying for everyone. I don't really have intense vision problems. I'm paying for people's glasses. That's how insurance works. You all pay and then you withdraw when you have an issue. Yeah. And so what it's saying that our new insurance in the county will cover elective egg freezing. We already cover egg freezing if you're trying to have a baby and it's not working, or you get diagnosed with cancer. So we know you're going to go through radiation, right? So you're going to lose your eggs in that process. But we don't cover it just because you're aging. And you might not have a partner right now, and you might not know what you're going to do, but you know that every year goes by, your egg quality is getting worse and worse. And it's more expensive for me to pay later on with an older egg. So it didn't make economic sense for our county because, like I said, if you continue to be a county employee, we're going to pay if you try and you don't get pregnant anyway. And then number two, I'm going to preserve the best quality egg the younger you are. And so when I actually went on my own egg freezing journey last year, and I realized I do a lot of work. I love this county. I will continue to do a ton of work for this county. But I realized my insurance wasn't going to cover anything. It made me pause and say, well, what is it doing for all the young women that work for the county? And I would also say it's a very limited thing. Most women aren't going to work for the county at 18. So the cost is minimal. It's really women that are in their 20s and 30s, and they elect to do so. Yeah. And when it says, for the naysayers, when it says it covers, right? Yeah. It's a very unique thing. Maybe in a couple of years, something like that would be 100% covered. Coverage doesn't mean there's no bill for that young woman. Coverage means you partially pay. Like when you go to the doctor, you pay a copay, or you pay the remainder of the cost for the insurance. So I'm just asking for some of the money you've been paying into the insurance, you get some relief. It is not going to 100%. I didn't demand 100% coverage. Right. I just demand that it's covered. So some part of this is going to be covered for you. And yes, the rest you will have to go out of pocket. So it's really meeting the young woman who wants to invest. And this investment can be $10,000 to $20,000 into her family dreams or hopes, some support that she's already been paying to everybody else. Right. So that is really, I think, why I got a unanimous vote. I know my colleague in DC, Miss Brooke Pinto, who I'm good friends with, she's looking to do this for DC because young women are making up the workforce in a big way. And we do want to have families and we do want to be mothers, but our windows are just a little bit different. Yeah. And so I felt like it was necessary to put the bill in, not just for myself, but for young women that come up, and also just the attention. I was at some of our universities, and I said, if I could go back, I would have done my egg freezing in law school. It's something that should have been built into all, especially if you go to a higher degree than college, because the propensity for women with graduate law school or doctor or MDs, you'll statistically have children later, and you're actually stationary in one place with pretty good health care to help, and friends to help you through it. And so I think it's about talking about things like this, because when I meet young women around the county or even the country who may have the means to do it, I don't want them to be in the situation I found myself in. And I want to push, my next push, hopefully we'll be pushing, like I said, post undergrad schools to offer that to women that attend, like I said, those kind of schools, because we already statistically know they're going to need it.
Yes.
And it's the best time to do it while you're studying.
Yeah.
And so, but nobody ever talked about it. Nobody ever said anything. And definitely coming from a very traditional African and South Asian cultural background, it was just not spoken about at all.
Yeah.
And so I just had no guidance in what to do. And I also, for the women in my family, they sacrificed a lot. I have the highest degree of all the women in my family. They didn't have the experiences. They got married younger than I clearly am, because I'm unmarried right now. So they didn't really have that kind of auntie or motherly advice, because it's such a unique situation to very much our generation. And yeah, I think that's where it really came from. And it did get a lot of attention, and some negative attention. But I find it so interesting in the national conversation that wants to be against choice, wants to be against abortion rights, but you're not for women wanting to be mothers. I can't seem to come to terms with those two opinions in the same person.
Right. Just to piggyback off what you're saying, I believe, it's a really great initiative. I actually learned about it while doing some research about you. And both Raissa and myself right now, we don't have any children at the moment. And I think those are really good, initiatives that you're doing, and for people to look into, especially young women like ourselves that are working and, trying to get all these degrees, right? And it's like we have an option where we know, okay, this is what you can do while you, like you said, like you wish you did it while you were still in law school. So it's really good that you are actually pro-choice, and you're actually, standing up for something and sharing these resources. So thank you for doing that.
Yeah, that's really great. I actually have a friend too. She's an NP, and we've been having this conversation. I was like, this is interesting. She's like, yeah, you need to think about like freezing your eggs now, especially if you're not sure when you're gonna settle down, like you don't know what the future holds, you're busy and stuff. And I was like, wow, I never thought of that. She's like, yeah, but you need to start thinking about it. You need to start looking into it and seeing, because the eggs you have now, just like you said, it's not the same you're gonna have in 2-3 years. In next year, right? It's not gonna be the same thing. So
we don't talk about, I would say half my friends have kids, half don't, my close friend circle. And we don't talk about how precious young women are. My male friends, when they become fathers to girls, I say, you're around half your grandchildren right now. When a baby girl is born, she is born with the exact amount of eggs she's ever going to have.
Wow.
So half your future grandchild is in your living room right now, in your toddler, right? And how precious cargo that is, because women's bodies are understudied and we're underdiscussed. And when you realize that, I mean, the shock in my male friends' faces who are amazing fathers of their daughters, I was like, your future grandchild's in there. You create, for men, they create more.
Right.
You're given the same amount you have since birth.
So whatever we're born with, that's it. That's all you're ever gonna get.
That's all you're gonna get in there. Now it's follicles.
I didn't even know that.
It's I've learned a lot. It's follicles, and that's why you have the cycle and the hormones come and like activated. It's like dormant, right? It's like sleeping when you're a little kid.
You have to wake it up.
Right. It wakes up when you go through puberty and you get hormones, and then you have your cycle. And that's why your cycle is the egg did not get fertilized and the egg's dropping. That's your cycle. But we are so uncomfortable in our society to talk about what is a period. It's not you bleeding. Your egg was there, nothing happened to it. And so it's dropping and the uterine line is shedding with it. Like, is it a dirty word to say the uterine lining? I'm going to say that as a politician because there's nothing wrong with my body. There's nothing wrong with women's bodies. And yet everybody knows the term for everything in a male's body. And how male bodies work. And I think I think that's also why when it comes to it all intersects. When we look at crimes that women are victim of, most women will die at the hand of their partner. Statistically, all of the things that impact the safety of women, when you get down to the root to it, it's, are women valued? Are we equal? And is your body autonomous? And the answer is no to really all those questions if we face it.
Which is sad,
And so we have to, as women that have platforms or that are educated, we have to speak to that because I think it saves the lives of other women. But also there are so many great men and allies out there, they just don't know. Right? My male friends, when I talk about this issue, especially if they're girl dads, they're just curious to know. They just haven't had the information to understand. And most women have not had the information to understand. And I've had to do a lot of studying outside. I was a Planned Parenthood leader class and all these things to even understand how my own body works and what's in it. And I think it's really important that we understand that, because if you were creating new eggs all the time, egg freezing wouldn't be so needed. You would have something fresh. Right. So think about it. It's not fresh. They're in a fridge for a really long time inside of you. And so, you know, when you explain it to young people like that, it also helps understand why it is a financial investment, but it might be a worthy one.
Thank you so much for that insight.